Welcome to Take a Side, the sports talk show that lets you, the viewer, choose our winners. Huge shout out to last week's winner Bernard for once again taking home the crown atop Sided's leaderboard. Be sure to get on Sided.co and put up your own arguments for your chance to climb that leaderboard and win a $25 Amazon gift card. We've got a great show for you today. Starting us off, we're talking Big Ten football. While the Ohio State Buckeyes are heavily favored to take home the Big Ten East crown, the Big Ten West seems to be wide open. The Wisconsin Badgers are currently the only ranked team in the Big Ten West at number 9 in the latest AP poll. However, Northwestern and Purdue both looked impressive in their Big Ten debuts, while Iowa and Minnesota are expected to be in contention despite their early 0-1 records. I'm joined by Max McElroy and Blake Sevenbergen to hear who they think will win the Big Ten West.
Well, I think that honestly, this is Minnesota, the Gophers. I think this is their division to lose, if I'm being honest. Last year was kind of like the miracle season where they kind of rebuilt everything, and just looking at their team, they only lost 2 starters on offense. And they return a 1,000-yard rusher, and they return, obviously, Rashad Bateman, who will be a first-round draft pick. And then they return their quarterback, who also had a great year in Tanner Morgan. And so I think really just like the consistency that they had on offense will be able to, they'll be able to produce just like they did last year. And I think that can honestly win in the Big Ten West.
See, my problem with Minnesota this year is they played the underdog role all of last season. They started the season 9-0 until they ran into a tough Iowa team. And my problem with them is this year they're expected to win, and I don't think they might have that chip on their shoulder that they had last year, which is why I think the Wisconsin Badgers are the team that's going to take the division. While Graham Mertz played out of his mind in the first game, only 1 incompletion, 5 touchdown passes, strong run game, insane defense, 45-7 win against Illinois. Mertz is out because of COVID protocols now, but I don't think that's going to matter for a well-coached Wisconsin team with a tough defense and a good run game.
Yeah, I'm curious how well they'll be able to kind of dish it out to everyone with the different quarterback. Obviously, they had Jack Cohen was a starter before the season started, and then he got hurt, and then Graham Mertz came in, and everyone was like, Graham Mertz is our guy, and then now he's out for 3 weeks due to COVID. So I don't know how well those 3 weeks are going to go for Wisconsin. You practice so much with one quarterback, and then you flip to another one, and now you're going to a third quarterback within a period of 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how well that'll translate. I think last year with Jonathan Taylor on their team, they were able to really move the ball downfield, and I don't know how well the running backs that they kind of rotated in, how well they'll be able to mimic that, because he was averaging like 200 yards a game. So I don't know how well that'll translate with different running backs, where just the consistency on Minnesota's offense I think will be great. And also, let's talk about P.J. Fleck for a second. P.J. Fleck, absolute players coach. Everyone loves him, changed the culture there, and he really, I think, elevates Minnesota. I think last year was kind of his year to be like, oh, I mean business here, and then I think he got outcoached by some of the smarter coaches, but I think this year he will learn, he will grow, as you need to in the Big Ten with how competitive it is, and I think he's going to rise above. I know they lost to Michigan. The good thing about that is that they're in the Big Ten East, so that hopefully won't matter for Minnesota by the end of it. But I think when all is said and done, I think the head-to-head matchup between Wisconsin and Minnesota is going to be the most important one for the Big Ten West.
And while we're at it, let's talk about the team that did beat Minnesota last year. They gave them their first loss, the Iowa Hawkeyes. They struggled real bad against Purdue last week, but they're returning Amir Smith-Marset, guys like Tyler Goodson, center Tyler Linderbaum is an animal. And they're a well-coached football team. They're proven. And let me tell you, November night games in Kinnick Stadium, it's a tough place for teams. They've knocked off Michigan, Ohio State, and last year Minnesota at home in November. And that's why I think with the season starting later, there's going to be an even tougher team to play against.
Yeah, we'll have to see. There might even be another team that rises up for the Big Ten West that we wouldn't even see coming.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Purdue got themselves in the conversation with how they looked last week too.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk about NFL football.